Hi friends! Welcome back to my channel. Come here, Jellybean. I'm Alita. These are my books. This is Jellybean. He doesn't matter where he is in my house or even outside my house. If he hears me filming, he has to run in here because my channel is all about him. My life revolves around him, and he is not spoiled. Don't say that. That's not nice. So in today's video, we have 24 5-star predictions. And see, we're gonna do it correctly. I picked my 24 books already. We're gonna talk about them here in a moment. There are 12 books from repeat authors that I think these books are gonna be 5 stars for one reason or another. And then there are 12 books that are new to me authors. And usually what I do is I make these 5-star predictions videos, then I never think about them again, and usually I unhaul a good chunk of them without reading them. This time I have a shelf over there, or like, pardon my TBR cart, over there, where I'm gonna put these. That way I remember to read them. So I think we're gonna start with the stack of repeat authors because I feel like that's gonna be quicker than the new to me authors. So let's get into that. The first book on my repeat author list is The Last Invitation by Darby Kane. This is like a locked room mystery, which is a little bit different for Darby Kane, but I think that anything Darby Kane writes is going to be like 4 or 5 stars, but I'm going out on a limb here and saying 5 stars. It's they meet the second Tuesday of every month and vote, and then someone dies. So getting in is by invite only, but getting out is impossible. The Last Invitation. So I'm excited for this one. I should also be reading this in February, so just a glimpse into my February TBR. Oh, here he is again. So then I have Silence for the Dead by Simone St. James. This one I'm a little nervous about because it takes place in 1919. I think it might be ghostly, but it also takes place during war, and you follow a nurse who, I'm not sure if she falls in love with a war hero or it just says that Kitty finds a dangerous ally in Jack Gates, an inmate who might be a war hero, a madman, or both. So I don't know what to expect from this, but Simone St. James is just, I'm gonna want to read everything from this author. And this came out in 2014, so it like predates all of her, well, like the Book of Cold Cases, Broken Girls, which was my favorite, and then there's the Haunted one, but I don't remember what it's called. So I'm taking a risk on this one. All of her books have been a 3, a 4, and a 5, but I'm going with a 5-star. I got the 5-star vibes right there. This will be the second Lisa Hall book that I've read. This says, Tell Me No Lies, Don't Trust Anyone. So I think it's kind of like a domestic thriller. And for me, domestic thrillers are really hard to get 5 stars from me. But there's something about Lisa Hall's writing that just sucks me into her thrillers, and I'm excited for it. This follows Steph and Mark, who move into a new house for a fresh start, but it just leads to dark secrets, lies, and betrayals. Ooh, so that's gonna be good. This one is a little bit, different for me. It is an author I've read from before. However, I hated the last book I read by this author. The only book I've read by this author. So I'm gambling here. We're gonna gamble. Okay. We're going to gamble with The Last Letter from Your Lover by Jojo Moyes. This is a literary fiction, and it has two timelines. So in 1960, Jennifer wakes up in the hospital and remembers nothing. She was in a car accident. She doesn't remember her own name. She doesn't remember her husband. She doesn't remember the car accident. Searching for clues, she finds an impassioned letter signed Simply B from a man for whom she seemed willing to risk everything. And in 2003, journalist Ellie Haworth stumbles upon an old letter containing a man's plea to his married lover. She becomes obsessed with finding out what happened to this couple. So it's a little bit different for me. We got out of the thriller realm into literary fiction. I feel like this one's gonna make me bawl my eyes out. And if you're not reading and bawling your eyes out when things happen, then are you really reading? I mean, not all books make me bawl my eyes out, but I do really want to cry a lot this year in the reading material that I have, because why not? Then we have another thriller. Oh, I have a lot of thrillers, which is weird because thrillers are least likely to get 5 stars from me. I have more in the new to me authors that are not thrillers. I think it's just because all the repeat authors are thriller authors. That actually kind of makes sense to me. So, The Perfect Mother by Amy Malloy. This one is also shot in the dark, kind of. I read the Therapist one. Good night. I don't think that's what it's called, but it's this one. By Amy Malloy, and I didn't really like it. I was bored. This one follows a group of 4 or 5 women who are moms, and they meet twice a week, just to have some adult time because they're babies, they have babies. So they mostly are stay-at-home moms, I think. But one night when they are meeting, they decide to go out, as one does, and one of the moms gets kidnapped, I think. Does the mom get kidnapped? Oh, no. While they're out, one of the babies goes missing. And I'm pretty sure the baby is abducted. And that used to be something that was could not read about. It was just, too damaging for my soul. But now, if the execution is good, I like those kind of books. Another thriller that is a 5-star prediction because Allison Galen, duh. I read The Collective by this author and I was really impressed. So, if I die tonight, it says by the time you read this, I'll be dead. Late one night, in the quiet Hudson Valley town of Have and Kill. A distraught woman stumbles into the police station after a carjacking, and lives are changed forever. That is all I know. Oh, I'm excited for that one. Then The Swap by Robin Harding. I've read a couple of Robin Harding's books, and I really, really love the arrangement. This one follows a broken marriage. Yeah, this one follows a broken marriage. And, I'm so sorry if you can hear that music. But this follows a broken marriage where the husband and wife decide that they are going to start, like, swinging, swapping partners. And that's all that I know. So, going in, like, not knowing a whole ton. Then I have The Dream Daughter by Diane Chamberlain. So, I've read a mystery by this author. This one is more of a sci-fi, which, like, not really my bread and butter, not really my jam usually. See what I did there. But I'm intrigued by this one. I think that anything to do with, like, motherhood and, like, children is something that I really want to read more about. So this is The Dream Daughter, and you follow this woman named Carly who, she receives the news that her unborn baby girl has a heart defect. She's devastated. It is 1970, and she's told that nothing can be done to help her child. But her brother-in-law, a psychologist with a mysterious past, tells her that perhaps there's a way to save her baby. What he suggests is something that will shatter every preconceived notation that Carly has. Something that will require a kind of strength and courage he never knew existed. So I do know that this is, like, time travel. So maybe in the 70s they couldn't save her baby. And she was heartbroken, devastated, obviously. She was also just widowed. So she, like, lost her baby and her husband. So she travels back in time to save her baby. And I don't know, I'm so intrigued by this. I think it'll be 5 stars. Then I'm just putting a fun one on here. So this one is A Spot of Trouble by Terry Wilson. I've read An Accidental Beauty Queen by this author. This one's fairly short, but more than that, it says 2 Dalmatians, 1 accidental mix-up. What could go wrong? Spot of Trouble. So it just really gives me 101 Dalmatian vibes. And that is, love isn't always a walk in the park. That is precisely why it's on this list. Because 101 Dalmatians is, like, unbeatable. Okay, not unbeatable. There are movies that beat it. But I would love to read the book version of it. And I know that they're not compared. But it just gives me those vibes. So, whatever. Then another romance is How to Walk Away by Katherine Sunner. This one's going to be more of a hard-hitting romance, though, because you follow this woman named Margaret Jacobson, whose life as basically just, she lost her dream career. Her fiance left her, and, you know, she's very much down on her luck. And this is her, like, grieving and moving past it and potentially finding real love. But I think more than that, it's just her moving on with her life and finding love within herself. Then I have one horror novel This is Daphne by Josh Malerman. I've read a few of Josh Malerman's books. I don't love all of them, but this one sounds really good. So this, it says, you'll be triple checking the locks and sleeping with all the lights in the house on bright, too afraid to close your eyes. A brutal woman stalks a high school basketball team in a reimagining of the slasher genre. Ooh, okay. So I thought it was kind of like Ghost, but maybe it's not. Kind of like an urban legend type thing. So Kit Lamb, it's her last summer on the basketball team before she goes to college, when they have like a basketball slumber party for all the girls, and one of the girls talks about Daphne, who is known to be like this urban legend that basically, think like Bloody Mary, you know, you say her name 3 times or whatever, she comes and she kills you. Only I think she just kills you if you talk about her or you think about her or whatever, and that sounds really exciting. Then the last one that I've read, not this book, but the author, is The Last Post by Renee Carlino. I read Before We Were Strangers. I thought it was just okay. I know everyone loves that book. I thought it was just okay. See You on the Other Side. Layla's husband, Cameron, a daredevil enthusiast, always says this before heading off on his next adventure. Leia is different. Devoted to her career, he is the complete opposite of her, and Leia loves him for it. But when Cameron dies tragically, all the stages of grief go out the window. Leia becomes lost in denial. She posts on his Facebook page reminiscing about their life together and imagining new adventures for them. So this one's probably gonna make me cry. This one's gonna make me break. It's just gonna break my heart. But I'm not surprised that I have a bunch of those, because now I have the 12 that are new to me authors that they I have a lot of different genres, mainly romance, thriller, and literary fiction. So that's kind of interesting. But let's start with the rom-com Agenda by Jane Deckner. You know how the story's supposed to go, but love makes its own plans. Step 1, find yourself. Step 2, win back the one who got away. Step 3, become a romantic hero. And step 4, fall in love, ? This one just sounds like a real fun rom-com. And sometimes I like just taking a break from the serious things. Speaking of serious things, though, we are on to thriller. Well, these are just in a random order. I'm sorry. This one is a thriller called Normal by Graham Cameron. This follows a man who is a serial killer. The truth is, I hurt people. It's what I do. It's all I do. It's all I've ever done. So, I don't know his name. He lives in your community. He goes to the grocery store and he finds this cashier that for some reason he becomes obsessed with. And she is going to be his next victim of being tortured inside the basement where there's like a torture chamber. I'm sorry, I just had to rip off that Band-Aid. Like, yeah. The next one is another romance. So, you know, romance, thriller, romance, cry-worthy. Although sometimes I cry during romances too, because that's just who I am. So this is The Rewind by Alison Wynne Scotch. So you follow these two exes who wake up together with wedding bands on their fingers and no memory of how they got there. They just have one New Year's Eve at the end of 1999 to figure it out in this big-hearted, nostalgic rom-com. When college sweethearts Frankie and Ezra broke up before graduation, they vowed never to speak to each other again. 10 years later, on the eve of the new millennium, they find themselves back on their snowy New England campus for the wedding of mutual friends. Frankie's on the rise as a music manager for the hottest bands of the late 90s, and Ezra is ready to propose to his girlfriend after the wedding. Everything is going to plan. They just have to avoid the charms of emotions brought up when they inevitably come face to face. But when they wake up in bed next to each other the following morning with Ezra's grandmother's diamond on Frankie's finger, they have zero memory of how they got there or about any of the events that transpired the night before. Now Frankie and Ezra have to put aside old grievances in order to figure out what happened, what didn't happen, and to ask themselves the most troubling question of all. What if they both got it all wrong the first time around? That sounds like a lot of fun. And then one that's going to make me bawl my eyes out is At the Edge of the Huts by Catherine Sligman. This is a literary award winner for PEN America. This follows this girl named Maddie who is homeless at 20, lives with her dog, and makeshift family in the hidden spaces of San Francisco's Golden Gate Park. She thinks she knows how to survive and who to trust until she accidentally witnesses the murder of a young man. And then now people are after her and she's trying to figure out what is the true meaning of family. The next one is another literary fiction that is probably going to break my heart. So Marlowe is Everywhere by Sarah Elaine Smith. This follows this girl named Cindy and her two older brothers who live in Pennsylvania, where the water's being shut off, the electricity is being shut off, and so you don't know if you're gonna have food or electricity or water or anything. And it's kind of, she feels like it's her job to take care of her older brothers. And I honestly get a lot of like Bryn Greenwood vibes from like this book and this book sound very similar. So I'm hoping, because I gave this book a 5-star, I'm hoping that I'm gonna love this one too. The next one is kind of more like chick lit. It's somewhere between chick lit and contemporary, but we're gonna call it chick lit for this video. So this is Remember Me by Sophie Kinsella. In this book, our main character, Lexi, is 28 and she gets into a car accident. And she can't remember the last 3 years of her life. So she's trying to rebuild her entire life. She doesn't remember her husband. The last thing she remembers is that she was 25 years old, working girl to a corporate big shot with a sleek new loft, a personal assistant, a carb-free diet, and a set of glamorous new friends. Who is that gorgeous husband? Who also happens to be a multi-millionaire. So 3 years. And she has to kind of pivot and try to figure out what's going on. Then we have The Half Moon by Mary Beth Keenan. This is a literary fiction, I believe. Oh yeah. Okay, so there are a lot of different layers in this book. One aspect is that Malcolm wants to buy the Half Moon, which is a bar. His wife, Jess, is a lawyer, But they've been trying for years to conceive children, to have kids. And I love torturing myself with fiction about women in particular that have similar things as me. I obviously don't know why she can't get pregnant, but for someone who's always wanted children, and I'm not saying it's not going to happen. It could still happen. I have faith. There are other ways of having kids than like the way that everyone always thinks of. But these kind of books just like stick right in my heart, and I want to read them all. So I think it's going to be 5 stars. Another one that's going to be 5 stars because it's a literary fiction that's going to make me cry my little eyes out. Follows this woman named Kate, whose husband died 2 years ago, and she's been trying to go for her child. She takes care of her child on her own. She has a lot of comedic crises. She has to navigate friends and work and just, adult life. But she hasn't really given herself the chance to grieve. So when her plane crashes and leaves her on an island in Australia, now all she has is time to grieve. So this one, again, is going to break me. Then we have... Okay. I'll do my last literary fiction, which is Signal Fires by Dani Sharpo. This is a very short literary fiction that will probably make me bawl my eyes out again. This follows 3 teenagers in 1985. They were at a bonfire, they were drinking, and one of them gets behind the wheel of a car, and there is an accident, and now lives are changed forever. So very vague, but one night, one fateful choice, a constellation of lives changed forever. It's gonna be so terrible, and I'm gonna love every second of it. Not like terrible, like it's just gonna be a car accident. You know how like when you're driving and you see a car accident, you kind of want to... Yeah, actually, I don't drive, but I know that causes a lot more traffic. Anyways, let's do our last romance, and then we have 2 thrillers. So this is The Fixer-Upper by Lauren Forsyth. Allie has a knack for turning her boyfriend's lives around, a skill she hasn't benefited her until now. So, as Allie tackles her biggest fixer-upper, like a guy that needs help, she'll have to come to terms with her complicated history and figure out how much to change someone she'd always thought was perfect as he is. I think it's childhood friends to lovers. I think it's, well, I was going to say it's slow burn, but it's really not. It's only 250 pages. But she'll fix your man so you don't have to. It just sounds like a fun rom-com. And sometimes I just need a book. I just need to read a book for a fun time, okay? These 2 are thrillers. I don't know why I read thrillers, but here we go. One Step Behind by Lauren North. How far will you go to take back control of her life? This follows a woman named Jenna, who is a wife, a mother, a doctor, but she's also being stalked. And I'm pretty sure that she takes life into her own hands and like starts obsessing over the stalker. I'm not sure, but I think that sounds great. Then Closing Costs by Bracken McLeod. This follows this couple that buys their first home together. And the man, Nell and Evan, were thrilled to purchase their dream house. Evan goes away on a work trip, and Nell is left home alone by herself. Home alone by herself, duh. And this person breaks into her house and ties her up in the basement, and apparently he's been stalking them. And yeah, that sounds terrifying. So like, bring it. Those are the 24 books that are 5 stars. Those are the 24 books that I have to read in 2024 that I am predicting will be 5 stars. If you're new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe so that you can see when I read these if they're really 5 stars. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!